So most games have you playing a well-intentioned hero. In some games, you'll play a reluctant anti-hero. But what if you could play a hero who was unlikable, unintelligent, and also kinda looked like the angry video game nerd if you squinted your eyes real hard? Red Faction came out during one of the best years in gaming, 2001. Red Faction competed against this market by being one of the few FPS games on the PS2 at the time, though it was later ported to PC, Mac, and N-Gage, and by focusing on its destruction tech. Destructible environments in video games weren't a thing in 2001, and Red Faction devoted a ton of development time on making sure players could blow holes in all sorts of things. Red rocks, gray rocks, metal grates, windows, first-line emergency health workers, lots of variety. And speaking of variety, there's swimming and submarines and whatever this thing is, oh my gosh, but it doesn't end there. You know, for a series that's known for destruction engine technology and Mars, you'd think the latter would mean red rocks, and yeah, lots of red rocks here. But there's tons of different environments in this game too. There are underground mines, grimy and gross industrial living quarters, clean offices, water sections, ice sections, which is still water, but you know what I mean. There's also a space station you go to. Like yeah, the game takes place on Mars, so you're kind of already in space, but you go to space and then you go to space's space. That's awesome. And all of this imprints this wonderful feeling of change on the player. I have a terrible memory, but I remember so much of Red Faction simply because of all the crazy environments in this game. So let's talk a bit about the gameplay. It's buttery smooth. Now I'm not a tech guy, and maybe it's just me, but were early FPS games always so crisp? Every time I play one, they feel fantastic. Is it survivorship bias? Are there scores of terrible controlling early FPS games? You turn, he turns, you shoot, he shoots, you stick a bomb to a guy, and you're in for a good time. However, the enemies do get a bit bullet spongy, and late game you'll be going for headshots just to save ammo. For any FPS to be worth playing, it first and foremost must have fun gunplay. Red Faction does that, but that alone isn't enough. There are thousands of FPS games with fun pew-pew guns, so Red Faction's claim to fame is its destruction engine. Most of the game's environments can be destroyed, not just free-floating objects or parts of walls like in most games. Oh my god, did you see that pre-scripted animation get triggered in the new Battlefield? So cool! No, fuck that. Red Faction has dynamic destruction. No physics in terms of objects outside of like broken glass, because you know it's a game from 2001, but that'll change in later sequels. But yeah, I'm talking about digging 50 feet tunnels for yourself just because you can. How does this tech affect the gameplay? Well, it doesn't. Not really. There are like 5 instances in the game where destroying the environment affects the gameplay, and they're intentionally set up by the game designers. But Red Faction is a great tech showcase. It has fun shooting and neat tech, but the two never synergize. The game even goes beyond that and actively punishes you for trying. Most of the inaccessible areas require a key and have indestructible walls, doors, and terrain anytime you need to find a key to progress. I don't know what you'd call it, but the soundtrack nails the tone of the game. Industrial, mechanical, hard, and slightly ethereal. Listen for yourself. It's the year 2075. Mars is being mined by the Ultor Corporation. Unbeknownst to Earth, the conditions are horrendous. Also, there's a plague going around, which will factor into the story later. Suckered in via promises of a high-paying job, our character, Parker, heads to Mars to work for Ultor. Not realizing the miners here are essentially slaves. Whilst returning from a day of hard work, we witness another miner ignite the spark of the revolution, and from there on, it's on. This is the part we'll be going over the game's story, so here's your spoiler warning. Good? Okay. The intercom plays a hijacked broadcast from someone named Eos, leader of the Red Faction, a resistance group formed of disgruntled miners. During this outbreak of violence, you receive direct communications from a sympathetic Ultor security technician named Hendrix. He gives you info about Ultor's security movements and helps you link up with other members of Red Faction. So we fight our way through the mines of Mars into the interior of the living facilities for the miners. I love how grimy everything looks here. You can tell only the bare necessities are given to the miners. I also enjoy all the propaganda Ultor has around their facility. Striking stuff. We head deeper into the facility and into Ultor offices. The living quarters for the staff versus the miners is night and day, and a greater level of detail than you'd expect in a dumb FPS game. You also get here by climbing up an elevator shaft, which, get it? The wealthy and powerful live above the poor and powerless, which is a bit on the nose, but effective.
Need help here.
Hold on, I've almost got it.
Whoa!
There.
Huh, a sci-fi tram deep underground. Yeah, this really reminds me of another game, but I can't quite place it. Hendrix guides us to an escape shuttle full of miners trying to leave Mars. We are too late and it leaves without us.
Maybe being slow isn't such a bad thing.
We head off to disable the air defenses, which sends us deep into an industrial zone, warehouses, robots, and quite the funky soundtrack. We reach the power system and need to sabotage 3 machines. First the turbine, then the water pump, and last the main control room. Within the control room is a nameless technician NPC who will help us hit 2 switches at the same time. You can kill him before hitting the switches, triggering a Morrowind-esque game over screen. Cute attention to detail. Someone took the time to write this out and put it in the game, so I respect it.
3, 2, 1, go!
Turbine chamber pressure at critical levels. Anomalous event imminent.
Eos informs us that Ultor has an underground lab that could help with curing the plague. Specifically, she knows another Ultor employee who's sympathetic to our cause and is willing to help. His name is Griffin, and Eos believes he can help answer some questions about the plague. With the power station destroyed, we head for the docks. Now this part is straight up broken. If you don't have any explosives, you're donezo. You can't progress. You need to get into this locked control booth in order to hit a button to lower the submarine. As far as I can tell, it's impossible to do without destroying the environment to get in. Like old RPGs, I strongly recommend having 2 save files, one lagging behind the other. I didn't because I'm dumb, so I used a cheat to get ammo. I'm not replaying the whole game just to get here. We used the sub to head to the research lab. I super appreciate how this level is an underground, underwater, in-space, sea base. When's the last time you were in one of those in a recent video game? It's an adventure. So we meet up with a member of Red Faction who gives us a disguise to sneak into Ultor's offices. So yep, stealth section. And it's mandatory. You can fight, but you lose all your weapons except for a pistol. It's not realistic to ever fight through, but maybe someone's crazy enough to have done it. The stealth mechanics are very simple, but good enough. You can't get too close to anyone, and if you do kill someone, you can pick up and hide their body. Eos informs us that she's sending some Red Faction members to meet us and pick up Griffin after we nab him. We reach the executive offices and find our man.
Wait, you can't go in there.
Stop, don't shoot. I can help you.
You're Griffin, right?
Deputy Administrator Griffin? Yes.
Why do I need your help? I'm the one with the gun.
I have vital information. You must take me to Eos.
What do you know about Eos?
Ultor knows all about her. They set this whole thing up. You must take me to her.
What do you mean they set this whole thing up?
No time to explain. Take me to Eos. I'll tell her everything I know.
Explain it to me first.
I'll tell you what I can on the way, but more guards are going to show up soon.
I'm right behind you. Betray me or try to run, and you'll be the first to die.
Put that gun away. If the guards see you with it, we're both dead.
So let's just ignore the clipping through the table, Griffin's broken legs, and how much of an absolute fucking moron our protagonist is. Let's put all that aside and just appreciate that some poor soul hand animated this. It looks awful. Think about the hours someone spent trying to make this nightmare of a cutscene look even this good. Joking aside, it had to have been a ton of work to hand animate this in 2001. We lead Griffin out of the offices and escort him through the robot repair facility. As far as I can tell, Griffin is invulnerable. You don't have to worry about him taking damage, thank God. We find ourselves a flying gunship to spice things up. Our first real boss battle takes place in the trash disposal area. You come up against an invulnerable hover robot with rockets and machine guns. The only way to kill this thing is to lead it into the big incinerator. This is a problem because the pathing on this thing is broken. After about 20 minutes of trying and failing and restarting, I finally get into position, open the incinerator, and down it goes.
Yeah, Parker. Great job. You can pose for pictures later. We gotta keep moving.
Shut up, Weasel. If Eos didn't want you, you'd be dead by now. I'll decide when it's time to go. Okay, let's go. Hoof it. I'm not carrying your sorry butt anymore.
Parker, Griffin, over here. We're here to take Griffin to Eos.
Thank God.
Well, whatever. Let's get moving before security shows up. Not you, Parker. Just the Weasel here. Eos will contact you.
Well, thanks, Parker. And good luck. And hey, don't you start calling me Weasel, too.
Great. Screwed again.
With our Griffin mission complete, we resume our search for a plague cure by heading into Ultor's labs, deep underground. Hendrix informs us that it's led by a guy named Capek. Right above these labs are Ultor's medical facilities. Another interesting change of scenery in a game that's full of them. Unfortunately, that carries with it another stealth section. This one is optional, but for the most part you'll want to be stealthy. Again, it's incredibly difficult with just a pistol. Exploring the medical wing is also pretty interesting. The patients here are suffering from the effects of the plague. Some are newly affected, some are at death's door. Eos tells us that Griffin shared some info. Apparently Capek's the key to the cure, so we gotta bring him in alive. While exploring, Hendrix also tells us that Capek is in the science labs, below the med labs we're in now. We'll need a pass card that only the medical administrator has, because despite being a game about blowing through walls, we need a fucking keycard to progress. So anyway, we're supposed to bring a brainstem to the administrator, but I'm not one for patience. Get it? Patience, medical wing? We finally enter the science labs and find the mole man himself.
Parker, how nice to see you. I must thank you for starting this little diversion. It has made my work so much easier.
What's that mean, you half-human freak?
These troubles have given me the perfect excuse to accelerate my experiments. Who will notice a few more vanished miners in all this confusion?
To hell with orders. Die, Capek!
Congratulations, Parker. You were the first to see my nanotech shield in action. Now I must return to my work. Enjoy what little time you have left, you and your friends.
Giving chase, Hendrix helps us follow Capek's trail. Now we're even deeper underground, which means time for some new enemy variety. I don't really know what these things are, if they're related to Capek's experiments or are just aliens, native Mars life, but they're new, so that's nice.
Do you recognize any old friends?
Evidently, Capek is injecting some prisoners with nanotech, often causing them to become these deformed creatures. After a long goose chase, we finally find it, the entrance.
Just keep your eyes open. You don't want to be the guy who let someone into Capek's labs. Wouldn't be healthy.
But it's cold and I'm tired. There's no one coming.
Just shut up and keep your eyes open.
Hold it, Miner!
Which is guarded by 4 dudes. Oh, and the front gate is unlocked. You just push a button. Well, that was easy. More guys inside, though. Well, it's Capek. And Eos is here, too. Time for an insanely frustrating boss fight because this dude one-shots you. Oh, and Eos can die, too, resulting in a mission over.
Parker, stop! Don't kill him!
Don't kill him? He's killed hundreds of miners.
And hundreds more will die unless we find a cure for the plague. We can't save the miners who are dead already, but we might save those who are dying. He's their only hope.
Hope? Who has hope? If you have hope, you just don't understand yet. My work, all gone.
Capek, the plague, there's got to be a cure.
Simple, really.
Stop the replicators.
But how? How do you stop them?
Antidote. Of course.
Come on, Eos. Let's finish him and get out of here.
We need that antidote, Parker. If you're not gonna help, shut up. Where is the antidote?
Why help you? Hope you all die.
Damn. The formula's got to be in his computer files. Maybe Hendrix can help. Parker, you've got to get out of here. One of us has to live through this.
No, I'm not gonna leave.
No time to argue. Go out the way I came in. If I don't make it, you must tell people there's a cure for the plague.
Self-destruct sequence initiated. Personnel have 60 seconds
Parker,
to evacuate.
Go out the way I came in. Someone's waiting outside for you.
Capek's death triggers a self-destruct sequence because of course it does. Io stays behind because of course she does, and we leave, finding a truck driven by a Red Faction member who gives us a computer disk on Eos's orders, but he doesn't know why. Our next objective is sending a distress call back to Earth. There's a communications tower nearby we can do it from. The surface of Mars is cool, but it has some strange effects on the driver. We run into a new enemy type, mercenaries employed by Ultor and led by Colonel Masako, because we need a new antagonist now that Capek is dead. We fight our way to the top of the communications tower, and now we need to head to an orbital station and deactivate Ultor's planetary defense system, otherwise the EDF can't help. We stow away inside a ship because stealth is real important right now. Disabling the defense network takes some time, and I'm pretty sure I have every cancer now. We hit a button to destroy the space station because we're the good guys, and use the only escape pod to peace out. Did I mention there were medical staff and sick patients on that station? Anyway, Hendrix sends some Red Faction members to escort us to the mercenary base. We fight our way through until...
Hey, buddy, you awake over there? You were a sight when they brought you in, all blood and puke. The medics worked you over and cleaned you up. Don't know why they bothered. They're just gonna kill us all anyway. Something big is happening. Lots of mercs running around, moving stuff. Don't know what it is, but I bet... Red Faction! Whichever of you is part...
Unauthorized prisoner release in cell block 19. Reinforcements needed.
Well, at least we're okay. We're real close to the mercenary HQ now. And they even have working mirrors here. Neato. Hey, it's Hendrix. He wants us to disable generators because the game needs more padding. And we both run into Masako.
Here's what mercs do to traitors, Hendrix.
Stop them. Don't let Ultor get away with it all.
You seem to be almost out of friends, Parker.
Damn, she's cold. I actually really like her character. She's 2D, but far more charismatic than Capek and Eos. But she burnt Hendrix alive, so she's gotta die. We fire the BFG at her ship, but like Capek, she can fly and has a bubble shield. What happened? Oh hey Eos, you're alive. Sorry, no time to talk. Gotta do this Google CAPTCHA before we all die.
It stopped counting down. Did I disarm it?
Yeah, let's go with that assumption.
Hey, the antidote works.
Yeah, it seems to. Mind getting out of my face? We've got medics delivering it to sick miners all over the complex. The plague will be history by tomorrow.
Okay, so what's the deep...
This facility is now under the command of the Earth Defense Force. Drop your weapons immediately. All armed personnel will be shot on sight.
That's the rescue force you called in, Parker. They'll clean up whatever mercs are left.
So, what now?
You're a hero, Parker. Relax, enjoy yourself. Start dating. Maybe look for a new job.
What are you gonna do?
Who knows? I won't be staying on Mars, that's for sure. Not after all this.
And that's Red Faction. The final challenge was a memory puzzle, so yep. Okay, so the gameplay is good, the story is trash. Blowing holes in things is fantastic, but never useful during combat. But hey, they made a sequel. Surely Red Faction 2 will learn from Red Faction's mistakes and be a better, greater game. Right? Right?